forecast first. NBC 10 News at 6 starts right now.
Live from your local news leader, this is NBC 10 News at 6.
President Trump is responding to Democratic presidential candidates Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as he wraps up the G20 summit in Japan. We have his thoughts on their debate performance. And a new migrant center is opening in Arizona. How many people will it hold and how much money will it cost? Plus, an unlikely piece of clothing is helping to save turtles. What is it? We'll have that answer for you later in our show. Hello, and thank you for spending the weekend with me. I'm Chelsea Jones. Our top story at 6. President Trump met with the Chinese president today as he wrapped up his 2 days of meetings at the G20 summit in Japan. NBC's Kristen Welker reports from Osaka.
President Trump capping off several days of high-stakes foreign policy talks in South Korea, where he's going to be meeting with the president there. But he is also engaging in a foreign policy risk, inviting North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un to meet him at the DMZ. So far, no official answer from North Korea. Of course, President Trump wants to get North Korea to denuclearize. That's one of the big foreign policy issues looming large. The second, China. President Trump and China essentially agreed to a trade truce. They want to get a big, broad trade deal. That didn't happen. But what did happen is that President Trump agreed not to slap a new round of sanctions on more than $300 billion worth of Chinese goods. And the two sides agreed to keep talking. The president also weighing in on the Democratic race back at home after that heated exchange between Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. President Trump saying Harris's performance was overrated and also saying that Biden didn't do very well, all underscoring the fact that the president has one eye on domestic politics, even while he's overseas. Kristen Welker, NBC News, traveling with the president in Osaka, Japan.
She was given too much credit. He didn't do well, certainly, and maybe the facts weren't necessarily on his side. I think she was given too much credit for what she did. Wasn't that outstanding? And I think probably he was hit harder than he should have been hit.
Several Democratic candidates visited migrant centers in Homestead, Florida Friday, expressing their opposition to the treatment of kids at that facility. The candidates are back on the debate stage in Detroit tomorrow. Well, speaking of migrant centers, the Border Patrol is getting ready to open a new processing facility in Yuma County, Arizona. It's to handle the surge of undocumented immigrants. The temporary soft-sided building is designed to hold about 500 people. They will sleep on gray foam mats. It comes equipped with playpens for children, showers, and a laundry facility. The Border Patrol says it will cost $15 million to keep it running for the next 4 months. If it stays open longer than that, it will cost $3 million a month. Agents say overcrowding has been a serious problem in the Yuma area.
Our resources here have been overwhelmed for a while, and it's just taken some time to get funding through Congress to be able to put up a facility like this so that we can hold this population here.
The Border Patrol says if they hit capacity again, they're going to have to work with non-governmental agencies to provide housing. Well, the driver who ran his car into a group of counter-protesters at a white nationalist rally in Charlottesville is sentenced to life in prison. James Alex Fields Jr. was charged with murdering civil rights activist Heather Heyer and injuring more than 30 others when he intentionally mowed them down in his car in August of 2017. Fields pled guilty to 29 of 30 hate crime charges in March to avoid the death penalty. Heyer's mother said at the sentencing she wanted Fields to spend the rest of his life in prison.
He's the least sincere person I've ever met. The last time I saw my daughter was to identify her body and to sign the papers for her to be cremated. And I held her bruised hand and bruised arm and I said, I'm going to make this count for you. And that's what I've done, and I will continue to do.
Heyer's statement was one of more than a dozen given by survivors and witnesses during that hearing. Well, on to a developing story. A toddler is recovering today after he was viciously attacked by his next-door neighbor's dog. Union Parish Sheriff's deputies received a call about a missing child on Walker Road yesterday afternoon. After launching a ground and air search, they found the toddler unresponsive in his next-door neighbor's front yard. Family members say the neighbor's dogs bit the child on the neck and in the back of the head. The toddler was airlifted to LSU Ochsner Health in Shreveport in critical condition.
Since I've been here, we've had several dog bites. This is the most serious one that I can remember.
Taken from the home, and they are being held as the investigation continues. Family members say the man who owns the dogs is related to the child. The toddler, though, is expected to recover. Well, a toddler was shot and killed Friday morning in Shreveport. The shooting happened shortly after 8:30 on Elmer Street near Cross Lake Boulevard. The Cato Parish Coroner's Office has identified the child as 2-year-old Ronaldo Bennett. Ronaldo was taken to Ochsner LSU Health, where he later died from his injuries.
My heart sank. It's a shock. This doesn't happen in our neighborhood.
19-year-old Jalen Jones was booked into the Shreveport City Jail for negligent homicide and illegal possession of a firearm by a felon. Detectives say Jones lived inside that home with the toddler. New at 6, customers at Panda Express could chow down while giving back to those in need. The Food Bank of Northeast Louisiana teamed up with Panda Express for a local fundraiser. From 11 to 2, customers who stop by the Asian eatery could buy lunch for themselves and give back to others, as a portion of proceeds were donated to the food bank.
The food bank runs off of donations, and as we go into the summer and then into the fall, we have a lot of people we're helping feed. You know, we have a lot of seniors in our area that are having to choose between paying expensive utility bills and buying food. So this is just another way to support the food bank. Yeah.
This is the first year the food bank teamed up with Panda Express. Those who didn't have a chance to stop by and make it out, you can make a donation online. Well, across the river, a local nonprofit held an event for boys and young men to teach them the importance of professionalism. At West Monroe High School, members of Strive for Success, a nonprofit that serves children in the community, came together to teach boys how to tie a tie. But it wasn't all about the attire. Founder Derek Johnson says it's about teaching the youth the importance of professionalism.
I just wanted to give back and stay connected to my hometown, because I want to give these guys a chance to reach out and just see something different, and to let them know that they also can strive for success to do anything that they would like to do in life.
Strive for Success is based in Northeast Louisiana. It focuses specifically on children in the area, and their next big event was their back-to-school drive in August. Coming up on NBC 10 News at 6, an unlikely piece of clothing is helping to save little turtle lives. We'll tell you what it is after the break, but here's a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, things are quieting down a little bit as that disturbance moves into East Texas, of all places, but we'll have some summertime weather moving in just in time for the 4th of July. We'll talk about all the details coming up when NBC 10 News at 6 continue.
If you're going to make one call, make it count. Call Creed & Creed today.
Folks, this is big. The bigger thing sells better than the Interstate. A 2500 mega cab, 20% off. A 3500 crew cab, 20% off. A Bighorn crew, 25% off. At Interstate Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in West Monroe.
Hi, I'm Ken with Ken's Coffee Service, your local office coffee and filtered water cooler specialist. Now offering your Chief Whole Home Water Purification System. Look us up on myarclemist.com.
Make it full speed ahead for the Auto Racing Challenge. Visit myarclemist.com and pick your top 10 drivers each week. Each week, the winner gets a prize pack worth $100. The grand prize winner gets a $100 gift card and a prize pack worth $100. Enter today.
It's the Jeep Celebration event at Interstate. All remaining 2018 Wrangler Unlimiteds, 20% off. A Grand Cherokee, $28,990. A Dodge Journey, $14,990. At Interstate Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in West Monroe.
Randy Ayala and Bodie Brooks. Weekday mornings on NBC 10 News Today, your local news leader.
This is the Durabit of the all-new Chevy Silverado.
That is huge.
It offers a built-in 120-volt outlet. Wow. Plug that in for me.
Oh, holy smoke.
And the all-new Silverado has more trim levels than any other pickup.
Oh, wow. There's something for all of us.
It's time to upgrade. Get 0% financing for 72 months, or get a total value of over $8,700 on this all-new Silverado. See your Super Chevy dealer today.
Summer's all about sharing the good times with the people you love. So why not share with them the pizza that you love from Johnny's Pizza House? Take home any medium specialty pizza for only $13.49. Just $13.49 for a pepperoni power, chicken ranchero, mighty meaty, bacon cheeseburger, Maui Wowie, hog heaven buffalo chicken, veg out, or barbecue chicken pizza. Don't forget to add any of our mouth-watering shareables like our buttery breadsticks, loaded cheese sticks, or sweet cinnamon sticks to your order. Share the love this summer and share a slice from Johnny's Pizza House.
NBC 10 News at 6 continues.
An animal rescue group in Charlotte, North Carolina wants your old bra. That's not a joke. They use them to help injured turtles recover. Amanda Foster explains how it works.
It acts as like a little fixator.
You'd probably never think it.
It's the eyelets that we need.
There's a group of people after your unused unmentionables. The same people who spend their time here among a team of turtles.
80% of them are hit by cars. The other maybe 5% are hit by boats, and then the remaining are environmental.
When these sometimes shattered shells come in, they're not in good shape. And in the summer, there's a whole lot more of them.
It's when it rains. That's when they're moving to lay eggs. So when it rains, we get a ton of turtles.
The team repairs the reptiles using some expected instruments, glue, a little tape, and bra clasps.
It's just these little ingenious things that people have created in the past that we can use today to help animals out.
That wire that's holding little Leaf together, it's held on with these things that might usually lock together lingerie.
You basically wire their shell back together.
It's affordable for this nonprofit and sustainable.
Recycle something that would go into a landfill, and I mean, they're helping a turtle. Who doesn't want to help a turtle?
And sticking to animal news, a North Carolina couple couldn't bear to break the bond they had with their furry friend. So after 19-year-old Cinnabon passed, the Bullardigs decided to do something a little unconventional. They cloned their kitty for a whopping price of $25,000. The company found a Texas-based company that's known for cloning dogs, cats, and horses. They bought a kit, and with skin samples and saliva, voila, Cinnabon II was born. That is so weird. So they cloned their cat, and it costs a lot of money. I would never do that.
I don't know. I love my dog a lot.
Oh, I love Fitz, but I'll just keep him in the house.
There's a possibility.
I might stuff him, but never.
It's kind of interesting, but I don't know if I completely count that out.
Okay, well, about
anyway,
this weather.
we've got some nice weather coming up. We'll tell you about more details coming up next. You're watching NBC 10 News at 6.
Meteorologist Lexi Birmingham. Mornings on NBC 10 News Today.
Imagine coconut sandwiches. Or maybe vanilla cream puff pudding puffs.
Now, I'm partial to your chocolate fudge bars, but you need butterscotch.
Your new banana pops are fabulous. Kiwi would be even better.
Our 12-pack snacks are sure to satisfy almost every craving, any day of the week.
I love Sunday cups so much, I eat them on Monday, and Tuesday, and Wednesday.
The holiday weekend is here, and we're helping you celebrate at the Nissan July 4th sales event. Save big on our lineup with advanced tech, like Rogue, Best Buy Award winner, Armada, Best Full-Size SUV crossover, and Altima, an IIHS top safety pick. Hurry, because like the July 4th holiday, this sales event ends soon. For a limited time, save up to $3,500 or get a low $199 per month lease on the 2019 Rogue.
Get the 6-minute advantage with the live Storm Tracker Doppler radar on NBC 10, keeping you and your family safe. Brought to you by E. Orem Young Law, the bankruptcy specialist.
For 50 years, Cracker Barrel has been cooking home-style favorites to perfection. We thought we'd celebrate by making our golden anniversary extra golden. Introducing new, crispy, juicy Southern Fried Chicken. Now at Cracker Barrel.
Want a relaxing pedicure?
Relaxing pedicure? My feet get so dry and cracked, I need serious relief. That's why I use O'Keeffe's for healthy feet. Guaranteed relief for extremely dry, cracked feet. Thanks to O'Keeffe's, I got my feet back.
Wish we could afford to buy new furniture.
What is this?
It's your breakthrough from Conn's Home Plus. Conn's Low Payment Finder finds the lowest payment tailored to you. Good credit or building credit.
Wow!
This is an example of a dirty cooling coil, most likely caused by poor filtration. Dirty coils lead to reduced airflow, reduced capacity, and increased compressor failure. For more tips, visit our quick tips page at jillysac.com.
Live Storm Tracker Doppler radar, sponsored by bankruptcy attorney E. Orem Young. Now, your local weather with meteorologist Brian Briggs.
Well, good Saturday evening to you. Hopefully you enjoyed the beautiful weather that we had today. We actually saw a little bit of that shower and storm activity push off as of early this morning, and it kind of led to a cooler than average day across the area. But with that being said, some of us did get in on those showers and storms outside. But you can see on our tower cam here, still seeing a few clouds as of this hour, but most of us pretty dry and really not sitting too bad temperature-wise. We're sitting at 86 degrees, so dew point around 70 degrees, which is still kind of, it's actually fairly typical for this time of year, but it actually doesn't feel all too bad outside, especially if you've seen some of that rain. Those folks down in Natchitoches, they're seeing 73 degrees right now, but most of us are generally in the 80s across the area, a little bit warmer towards the Mississippi River, as those folks out that way really did not see too much in the way of showers and storms today. But as I mentioned, a little bit cooler off towards the south and west where those storms have been prevalent today, but feeling more like the lower 90s and upper 80s for everyone else. So with all things being considered, really not too bad. And actually, this is kind of interesting. You see our western sections are actually cooler than this time yesterday, and our eastern sections are warmer. And that was due to this kind of disturbance that came in from an interesting direction and brought us some showers and storms. Live storm tracker Doppler radar brought to you by eORM Young, showing that activity mainly off towards our west, and mainly just our extreme western parishes are now dealing with those isolated to scattered showers. As I mentioned, that disturbance, here it is. It's kind of wedged in between two areas of high pressure, and what's interesting about this was it actually moved from east to west and brought those storms in from the south. So they were kind of going in a really interesting direction. Those storms ultimately ended up going southwest, and with that, we even actually had a couple severe thunderstorm warnings last night too. But this system will be pushing out of our area for tonight. Can't rule out maybe some isolated activity through the night, but most of us will be quiet. And then for our Sunday, again, kind of just more of those isolated to scattered showers developing once again during the heat of the day. But again, only just about a 20% chance, not expecting to see what we've been seeing in the last few days or so. But check this out. We're going to be kind of getting to more of a normal summertime pattern here as we go over the next few days or so. Generally, temperatures in the 90s almost each day, kind of a wash, rinse, repeat situation here, which is perfect because it is the 4th of July coming up here soon. So I know a lot of folks are kind of curious what the weather is going to be like. Thankfully, it looks like things are going to be calm and won't be completely dry. However, it will be drier than what we've seen. So for tonight, dropping down to about 71 degrees, maybe a stray shower or thunderstorm possible. Seasonal lows too, really not too bad of an evening on tap for us tonight. And then for tomorrow, again, just kind of a low-end chance for some isolated showers and thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. Highs generally in the upper 80s to lower 90s. So all things being considered, really not too bad, and actually a few degrees below our normal highs for this time of year. So let's take a look at the 7-day forecast real quickly. And as I mentioned, really not too much variation in the high temperatures throughout the day as we go through the week. And as I mentioned, 4th of July actually looking pretty good. And only have about a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms as it is now. So that is relatively low. And then by the time we get to the weekend here, we will be actually kind of warming up, drying out even further as we get a little bit more stronger high pressure working its way in. So that's the best news we can offer right now. At least we don't have like 40 to 60%.
Yeah, let's keep it low.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brian. Still to come on NBC 10 News at 6. Football camp season extends into another weekend. Meanwhile, the Lake Providence community is experiencing something never done before. Chris Demersion has that for you after the break.
Celebrate savings. It's the Jeep Celebration event at Interstate. A Jeep Cherokee, $19,990. A Jeep Compass, $18,990. And the all-new Jeep Gladiator is here. This is a must-see because the vehicle is amazing. At Interstate Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in West Monroe.
At Franklin Medical Center in Winsboro, we offer services and care to help keep you well. Our newly renovated facility features orthopedic care, along with great rehab facilities. Dr. Jed Robinson offers those with urologic conditions the most effective treatments with the highest level of skill and care. Our renovated emergency department is fully equipped and staffed with care that's better, faster, and close to home. Franklin Medical Center in Winsboro, where our service is matched by the highest level of hometown care.
It's Dodge Performance Days at Interstate. A Charger, $22,990. A Chrysler 300, $22,990. A Fiat Pop, $12,990. Believe it, folks, $12,990 at Interstate Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in West Monroe.
News, weather, and sports. Follow us on the KTVE NBC 10 KARD Fox 14 Facebook page.
We are Floorworks Flooring America here in West Monroe on Cypress Street. We would love to help you Know what's going to work best with your budget as well as your lifestyle. Please come and see us for any of your flooring, countertop, and decorating needs.
For more expert advice, log on to myarclemis.com.
Now is a great time to own the Honda CR-V, a 2019 KBB.com Best Buy. It's an SUV with smooth handling and excellent power delivery, and plenty of space for you and your passengers. So find out for yourself why the Honda CR-V is ready for adventure. Hurry into your Honda dealer to find a great deal on a 2019 KBB.com Best Buy.
At Clayton Homes, we'll find you the right home for the right price. We have several models of homes to choose from, or we can custom build to meet your needs. We offer excellent financing and award-winning service.
Hi, I'm Clay Knox. Come by Clayton Homes today and let us help put you and your family in your perfect home.
Now, your local sports with Chris Demersion.
Well, history hasn't cited much with General Trask football, but that's changed as of late. But it all starts with getting young athletes in Lake Providence interested in the game at an early age. That's something Coach Toriano Wells and company worked on this morning.
1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6. Let's go up on coach.
For years, football camps and heat defined Northeast Louisiana summers, except for East Carroll Parish. However, that changed on Saturday with General Trask getting kids off the couch and onto the gridiron.
Jumping over hurdles, sprinting, and shuffling, stuff like that.
You got to go 100, but I'm going right now. Right now I'm going 80.
That was our goal 4 years ago, was to come in and to get the community fired up about football. Our band program here is outstanding, and we're just trying to get the excitement around the sport of football, and we're starting to do that.
This is thanks in part to Marcus Perkins and Anthony McGee, 2 Monroe natives and a pair of Grambling alums who now live and work in Dallas. They drove nearly 360 miles to bring the spirit of football out of the goodness of their hearts.
Me and my brother, this is something that we envisioned for a while. This was something he kind of started, and I kind of came over with him. We talked about doing as far as coming back, giving back, and just working our way up down I-20.
A lot of people have forgot about kids back towards this way. And that's what we try to do, trying to bring something back towards this way to give these kids a chance that they may not have.
They're not only teaching kids about football, but about life.
Being an athlete is only part of what you do. You're still a human being at the end of the day.
The Lake Providence General Trask program hasn't seen much success in their history, but last season, the Panthers won their first playoff game in 55 years. One can hope that the future is in good hands for years to come.
It's great exposure. It allows a lot of kids to see that there's other opportunities out there for them. When you get people to come in and see our kids excelling and doing things that our kids haven't had the opportunity to do in a long time.
Toriano Wells, a good dude. Well, for a few years now, the former West Monroe star Michael Hunter has brought football to Richwood. The former Oklahoma State Cowboy and New York Giant, Brian, Oklahoma State Cowboy, did it again this weekend over Mackey Free Stadium. Over 200 kids were in attendance to be instructed by Hunter and over a dozen camp counselors. I asked Hunter why he comes back every year.
Man, honestly, man, I just enjoy giving back to the community, and there's really nothing I'm doing special, just trying to give back to where I'm from, and I love doing it. It's a blessing, so I just try to live right and try to give back as much as I can.
Over at Grambling this afternoon, the women's basketball program held their first ever team camp. Over 14 different teams made the trip, even as far as Minnesota. Head coach Freddie Murray hopes to make this a regular thing.
We're good. I mean, we had a lot more numbers that wanted to come and be a part of it, but we don't have the availability right now with our gyms being down with intramurals. Next year, we'll probably double or triple this number here. We're going to branch it out even bigger and get teams from Texas and from Arkansas next year.
Freddie Murray, a good dude. More good people on the way. Chelsea and Brian, he's all right. Up next on Channel 10.
Need guidance on making better financial decisions? Watch Your Money. And get tips on everything from home mortgages to protecting yourself from internet fraud. Your Money, Monday on NBC 10 News Today. Brought to you by Homeland Bank.
It all felt like a dream. The years felt like a breeze as they passed us by.
The 2019 Toyota Highlander. The best seats in the house. Right now, get $2,500 customer cash, or qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 60 months on a sophisticated new 2019 Highlander. Toyota, let's go places.
It's a difference you can see and taste. Everyday tap water versus water filtered through the new Chief Water Purification System. Installed at your home or business, this system removes chlorine, chemicals, bad taste, and odors from your municipal water source. No more rain buildup around bathtubs. This system will extend the life of your washing machine, dishwasher, and hot water heater. No replacement filters, just a water hose to backflush the filter to keep it clean. It's a clear choice. Call your local distributor at Ken's Coffee Service today.
This is the Durabit of the all-new Chevy Silverado.
That is huge.
It offers a built-in 120-volt outlet.
Wow.
Plug that in for me.
Oh, holy smokes.
And the all-new Silverado has more trim levels than any other pickup.
Oh, wow. There's something for all of us. It's time to upgrade.
Get 0% financing for 72 months, or get a total value of over $8,700 on this all-new Silverado. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
LSU Tiger fans, it's time to get up and go. Get in the game and get the inside stories on Go Nation. Sunday night at 11:30 on NBC 10. Sponsored by Gordon McKernan, Injury Attorneys.
Quieter, more typical weather for this time of year is on tap for much of the 7-day forecast here. As we have high pressure and control, kind of just some weak instability in the upper levels too, bringing some isolated scattered storm chances through the week. Best chance of rain looks to be Wednesday right before the 4th of July with a weak system moving through, but 4th of July itself, only about a 20% chance of showers and storms. Highs generally in the lower 90s, and that's pretty typical. By the end of the week though, we'll see a little bit stronger high pressure working its way back in, and we'll be warming up and kind of getting rid of those at least somewhat higher rain chances.
All right. Well, the Queen herself has a birthday today. Happy birthday, Mom. Here is myself, my mom, and my sister. I hope you're enjoying your day, relaxing, drinking wine, and of course, missing me because I'm not there to celebrate with you.
Happy birthday, Chelsea's mom.
Happy birthday, Chelsea's mom.
Thanks, y'all.
What's her name?
Lisa Michelle Gilliard-Jones. Happy birthday, girl. I love you.
Happy birthday, HBD.
All right. Well, we'll see you back here tonight at 10. You can stay up to date on myarclemiss.com.